Hello everyone, time for another video. So these flyers keep coming in the mail. This is going to be about a lot of different subjects, so bear with me. Another anti-Larry Hogan mailing. These things, my father says he's getting these like every day basically. This is from the Maryland Democratic Party, and my whole point of, there's 2 points of showing this. First of all, they don't mention anything about Anthony Brown. They keep sending these things that say Larry Hogan. Now, a lot of people are kind of angry about that the Democrats are, taking this attack mode type of thing, negative campaigning, and there's a point to that. They obviously think that's going to work, but there's negative campaigning, and then there's just like some people get this, and all they see is the name Larry Hogan, and they just throw it away. So there's some people that you're just teaching them the name Larry Hogan. They're not taking anything negative with the name. They really see it for a second and throw it away. So this is really a questionable tactic. In terms of does it really work for the long term? Or are you just educating the public, the gullible public, about the name of your competitor? I mean, some people don't believe in mentioning the name of their competitor. I think that's a good tactic. Well, anyway, this one's about gun control, and it says whatever about it. And my point now, it says Larry Hogan opposed the new Maryland law, SB 281, which requires fingerprinting and enhanced background checks to prevent violent offenders and the dangerously mentally ill from getting their hands on guns. The dangerously mentally ill from getting their hands on guns. So this was the Firearm Safety Act of 2013, and it passed. And when we think about these type of bills, we also think about the tragic events that have happened with these mass shootings. I mean, that's usually what spurs these type of bills. And all the mass shootings obviously were caused with guns, so people get very angry at guns. But another topic that has come up that many people have studied and looked into because of these tragedies is mental illness. And that I think every single one of these mass shooters is mentally ill, has serious mental problems. So you don't want mentally ill people to get a hold of guns. And you want to be able, beyond the bill, you want to be able to identify who is mentally ill, see the warning signs so you can kind of prevent these tragedies from happening. Because, a law saying mentally ill person can't get a gun, okay, maybe some aren't going to be able to get guns, but some are going to still be able to get guns. So you're going to have to be able to say, is this mentally ill person really sick enough that they might, go on a rampage? Do they have access to a gun? So I find it disgusting that, someone like Curt Anderson in the House of Delegates, who's from Baltimore City, he's been, whenever they have a negative Frank Conaway Jr. Story on, which there should be more of, he defends Frank Conaway Jr. saying, oh, he's not crazy, he's just a little out there, we're all a little crazy. And, I understand Curt Anderson he's got his allegiances with the Conaway family. He defended Frank Conaway Sr. before. He feels he's got to, defend Frank Conaway Jr. But, he goes around parading, I'm sure with pride, that he supported an act, a law that, keeps guns out of the hands of mentally ill people. And that, kind of touches on the subject of mentally ill people. So, he isn't willing to explore the fact, the possibility, that his colleague is mentally ill. In fact, all the people who voted for this are hypocrites, because in their midst is someone who is displaying it appears that he is mentally ill, displaying mentally ill characteristics. And now that these videos are in the public, the whole public, there can be no denying that he is showing symptoms, Frank Conaway Jr. is showing symptoms of mental illness. Yet, these people, this scum, Curt Anderson, can go on TV, and the next time there's a huge mass shooting, he might be like, oh, this is a tragedy. And it will be a tragedy. But yet, at the same time, you are out there kind of saying, oh, no, he's not really mentally ill. It's enablers. It's enablers and deniers of people who are mentally ill, who aren't addressing their problems, who are letting them go untreated and think it's all a joke and think, that these things escalate and these people eventually find a gun. And we all know, Frank Conaway Jr. apparently lives with his father, he says, and that's where he says he lives on Liberty Heights. Well, we all know Frank Conaway Sr. has a gun. We all know that. I didn't see the gun, but we all know that Frank Conaway Sr. has a gun. So, couldn't Frank Conaway Jr. get a hold of his gun? Could Frank Conaway Jr. There have been shootings at City Hall before in Baltimore in 1975, I believe. There was a shooting down there. Does he have to go through metal detectors? I don't know. I'm going off a little tangent here. But my point is that these people in the House of Delegates, the State Senate, who are worried about mentally ill people causing problems, they can't explore the fact when it's in front of their eyes that they might have a mentally ill person amongst them. At the same time, we have people like, and by the way, the Conaway family as a whole, obviously they're not all mentally ill, but they're a joke. They've done so many, from Belinda Conaway suing me for $21 million for a truthful article, to Frank Conaway Sr. being just ludicrous and all the ridiculous things he does. Frank Conaway Sr., I think I meant. The city paper just came out with this hilarious video just poking fun at all the Conaways. I think everyone should see it. I'll include the link. But it just shows how stupid Baltimore City voters are for, again and again and again, voting for these people. And even the city paper the city paper song calls them morons, calls the voters morons, because many of them are who vote for the Conaways. But we have someone like Jim Kraft, who's on city council, who I'm sure everybody thinks he's not a Conaway man or anything like that. He doesn't have anything to do with the Conaways. But yet, on May 22nd, 2014, friends of Jim Kraft transferred $2,500, which is a lot of money in campaign finance, $2,500 to friends of Frank Conaway. Now, it's not Frank Conaway Jr., I believe, it's Frank Conaway Sr., but the way Conaway Sr. runs all these they have so many campaign finance accounts, they all really go toward promoting all of them, okay? Everyone knows this. So Jim Kraft supports, so if you give money to Jim Kraft, he gives part of your money to Frank Conaway Sr. and the Conaways. So if you support Jim Kraft, you support the Conaways. You really do, if you give Jim Kraft money. This is proven right here. You can look it up for yourself. On May the 20th, as recent, after all the crap that's gone down through the years, and Jim Kraft knows about every single bit of it, too. He gives $2,500 of his campaign account money to the Conaways. So this is why they stay in power. People ignore mental illness. People give them money for other politicians give them money for some reason. I don't know. So anyway, we've got, the election is still coming up. You've all heard that Sean Tarrant is running a write-in campaign and saying not to, and he's been on TV, and more Conaway Jr. articles have come out. But it's still, the odds are they're against Sean Tarrant, because despite everything I've just said, despite his videos being so, you show someone the video for a second, they just can't believe it. They're just like, what is this? Despite all that, the voters, whatever. They don't care. They see the name. They don't even know about write-in. They don't know how to do write-in. They don't pay attention. So, again, why it's come to this, it's sad, and we've got to find a way to get around the idiot voters and help change things here in the state of Maryland, the city of Baltimore. Let the smart people, if you're smart, get out there, do something. That's all I can say. Have a great one.